Welcome, all of you. We'll start with today's session. So today we will be talking about mostly about DevOps. About today's session, so let's look at the agenda. So what we are going to achieve today, okay? Uh, Actually, this is going to help you understand basics about DevOps, okay? Understand all building blocks of what are the industry-leading tools, and each of these building blocks. What exactly is DevOps as a practice, and how does it help us in the industry? How do we use these tools in DevOps? In short, you'll be actually taking the first step towards becoming a DevOps engineer or probably practitioner as such. So it's a long journey to go, but this will be a good start for all of you. So actually, today we will be looking at traditional and new age development methodology as such, agile, what is agile, and then what was earlier like a typical waterfall, and how the agile development methodology got into practice, and how making agile development methodology a success. How does DevOps going to help, and why do we actually look at DevOps as a tool to make the agile development or the practice a success. Okay, and then we will look at the different DevOps building blocks, the different tools and technologies. Okay, how a typical DevOps can be implemented in industry. Okay, and then the different benefits of DevOps. Okay, and then do's and don'ts about DevOps. Like how do we make sure that while we start implementing a DevOps as a practice into our application development environment, what should we do to make sure the implementation gets successful, and we do not fail while we do the implementation. Okay, so this is going to help you to understand basics about DevOps, understand all building blocks and all. And we will look at the best practices later on as well. Okay. So who should be attending to this course? Okay, who would get benefited, and why actually DevOps in today's world is looked at more as an important aspect in the application development environment as such. Okay, why everyone is actually going for DevOps implementation, or say automation. Ultimately, some of the tools inside DevOps that we will see, people do look at those as some of the automation practices, or the factors to automate their application development environment. And so who should actually go for such tools and end-to-end DevOps implementation as such? Okay, and I would say everyone actually who is linked with the IT department of an organization, or say someone whose day is spent around software development, or possibly related to the software application life cycle as such. Okay, and so people coming from operations side, or say development side, or testing side of the application environment, they all should actually look at understanding the DevOps as a practice, and rather taking it as a practice, implement it as a practice. Okay, and it would be a good thing to for us to have few of the prerequisites while we start with this course, and it would be like people coming from say development methodology. If you guys are from a development side or testing side, having understanding about what is waterfall, a typical waterfall development cycle, or say agile development cycle, what are the different practices inside Agile, and in case of testing, what are the testing methodologies, like what is a functional test, and unit testing, and also all these concepts. And then people coming from, say, operations or infrastructure support background, for them it's good to have some network security knowledge about it. So all in all, having these backgrounds will definitely help you guys to understand things in a better way, because all these references are going to be discussed and required to understand the DevOps in a better way. Okay, so the main thing, okay, what is actually DevOps? To put it as a simple definition, I would say DevOps is actually a culture. Okay, that's what I believe, and it's a culture that emphasizes on collaboration or integration of the development team and the IT support team, or say operations team, as we usually refer to. Okay, this collaboration is then materialized using the automation of software delivery process. The different tools that I just talked about, like different tools to automate all these processes inside the development cycle, and then also infrastructure changes that are needed to achieve the successful software delivery. Okay, so in earlier days, it's not like when we say DevOps, in these terms, it's not like DevOps is very new to us. It's not like this concept is a new one. We were talking about this long back. People in some of the corners of the world were trying to have such kind of automation in place, which would rather help to have a better collaboration between operations and the development team. Okay, but it was not as a organized way of doing it, and it was more of ad hoc, and people used to call it as agile system administration most of the time. As there wasn't any guidelines put into place, most of the time such groups, such support groups like agile system administration would not succeed in providing a better support, and in such case the agile development might not have the expected results. Okay, so with this we can understand that DevOps is something that is closely related to agile development methodology, right? The requirement for agile to be successful, it's that's what the DevOps is actually derived and came into existence. So we all know, okay, all know that agile development methodology is primary. It is a primary effort to develop, test, and release the code for a particular feature in a small iterations. Okay, most of it is called as sprints, and so this is a culture or methodology that actually enables quick to market. Why we talk about agile is have the quick to market strategy for a business application in an IT organization. Okay, or rather in any organization, having the software application put into use into production as soon as possible. Okay, and to have that uh, cut into small chunks, and then have it pushed to production as soon as possible. So quick to market strategy is what actually is a driving force behind this all agile and of course DevOps as well. So how do we achieve this goal? Okay, how do we make the DevOps a success? As long as the development and operations team are not, or are rather working in silos, achieving quick to market is definitely difficult. So accepting DevOps culture is the solution for this problem. So when we talk about DevOps, DevOps is not actually a suite of application or a particular application as such. It's actually a culture, right? So, but it definitely encompasses different areas inside application lifecycle. Okay, as we are seeing on the screen, the coding portion, like the actual development of code, uh, the build or testing of the code, then the packaging, release management, configuration management, and then the application infrastructure monitoring as such. Okay, all these different aspects or the building blocks inside a application lifecycle are actually part of the building blocks, or rather the building blocks, and they all form the entire end-to-end DevOps uh, landscape as such. Okay, so if you look at the code build or test portion of it, that's what the development team will be referred to as. Okay, it might not be the testing, but if we look at the unit testing portion, nowadays there are places where the functional testing or most of the testing is also handled by the development team to some extent. Okay, so if you look at the code build and test, those are from the development team side, and then the packaging, release management, configuration management, and then the monitoring, continuous monitoring assets, they all can be referred to as the operations team's responsibilities. Okay, so uh, and that's what to have all these building blocks implemented, automated rather, we have to have a better collaboration between the development team and the operations team. So what are the important things? Have a healthy communication, collaboration between these two teams. These two teams meet often. All the stakeholders rather meet often. And when we talk about stakeholders, it would not be just the development and the operations team. It would be product owners, the testing team, the business owners as well, and then the operations and development team. Okay, so they meet often, discuss about each other's problem, and then have the automation in place. Okay, although DevOps is just a culture, having automation is actually going to make it possible to have the DevOps implementation success. So have right tools in place to automate all these areas, and have the continuous integration, or say continuous delivery or deployment, continuous monitoring in place. Okay, so this is what actually is brief about DevOps as a idea. Okay, so let's look at why DevOps. Okay, why do we really actually need DevOps in place? The requirement is actually to break down the barriers between the stages of application lifecycle. Okay, the transition from every stage should be smooth and frictionless, and that's what we look at. Having these processes or concepts in place, understanding each other's work areas or pain points, the dev team to ops team and vice versa. Okay, increase trust and shared ownerships. Okay, and then the DevOps encourages the collaboration. Okay, the accelerating innovation. That's one of the important benefit of it. Team gets more time to dedicate their delivery, or rather time to deliver a better quality of products. Okay, it helps to, it actually advocates the agile development methodology along the application lifecycle management. Uh, the actual the area actually in a position to see measurable benefits, improved software product quality, fast to market is one of the things that is achievable, with having the implementation of DevOps. So when we say why DevOps, these are the important things that we get with the DevOps. Okay. Uh, on the right side, in the green font, these are some of the findings that the Forrester shared okay, some time back. And how do we, what are the benefits and how do we get the DevOps in place? These are some of the things. I'll not go into details. There are just some of the findings that are shared and that is available on the internet from Forrester. Okay, so now in order to understand DevOps, okay, we've talked about the definitions. So let's look at how a typical scenario in a industry. How can we map that to having DevOps implementation? Requirement of rather having DevOps implementation. Okay, so to talk about, I would say, in today's world, the global scenario. If we look at if you look around, all the major companies have, although they are not from IT service sector, all the core industries have healthy or have at least the IT in place. They have some sort of application running to support their business. Okay, and then all these applications have their front end or their business dependencies or the core business connected to these applications. So when we look at the business as such, the global business scenario nowadays is ever changing. Okay, it is most dynamic. People try to come up with new ideas to have upper hand on the rivals, and in order to do that, they keep on innovating the things and have their applications, some of these applications updated frequently. So the competition is actually compelling to do this, compelling the businesses to provide new features to the customer, forcing the businesses, the business web portals to update and upgrade them frequently. Nowadays, if you look at probably daily updates to production, applications is a frequent thing. Okay, it's a common factor nowadays. People see new code or changes pushed to the application running in the production probably 2-3 times a day also. So gone the days when we have had quarterly release, major release, coming in once in a quarter or probably once in a month. At that time, having a release once in a month was also a very aggressive timeline. So those days are over, definitely. Many of the applications running in production, they have very frequent releases. So in this case, if we consider organization, say let's consider an organization having its existence in say finance or say insurance sector. Okay, we have XYZ company having health insurance as their core business, and in that case, we all know, right? Insurance is highly competitive business area. Okay, consider like LIC or say not LIC, maybe say ICICI Prudential. Okay, Indian insurance company, and they have new things to be implemented, new products to be updated on their portal, where actually the end user can go and buy their products. Okay, so the company have to keep on innovating. Okay, company have to keep on innovating their product lines, adding new features, adjust to new changes in government laws, okay, regulations. So they have, even though they are not adding a new product as such, many a times they have to adjust the existing products to adjust to the government laws, changes in the government laws. So all these things are going to force this company to release new application version into production very frequently. It could be like, as we discussed, no, let's not, maybe not daily, but let's say weekly. But even achieving weekly target is definitely difficult. Okay, and in order to usually, definitely they have to go for agile development methodology. They cannot really go for a traditional waterfall. Okay, uh, and as I said, this particular company is actually providing their product on the portal. So they have a web application running on the web portal, serving their online customers, where customers can actually go and buy the insurance product. Okay, and on the insurance product side, for this particular company, in order to keep up with the changing business needs, they have to have this portal updated. Now, if the, as I said, if the company follow traditional development methodology, they will definitely will not be able to complete it in weeks time. Probably they will take months to develop and almost similar time to test it also. And there are high chances that they will not be able to deliver it in time, and ultimately impacting the prospective business. So they have to adopt agile development methodology. And as again, if we go back, how do we make the agile development implementation successful? Okay, uh, so now let's consider that this development team, the development team that is actually supporting this application, has to complete this particular feature, new feature that they want to push to the production, and they complete the unit testing. Okay, and then after completing the unit testing, they hand over the code to the testing team. The testing environment has been updated, is now updated with the code that they have developed, the feature that they have developed. And surprisingly, what happens is the testing team comes back saying that, okay, this particular feature that you have developed, our tests are failing. And the development team is definitely surprised, because they have tested everything in the development environment. They have their unit tests running and they all passed, and they come back saying this is not definitely happening. And the testing team, they have their test cases, and those are failing. And uh, then if those things are happening, they actually pull in, say, the operations team into the issue, and operations team comes in and looks at, okay, there are issues with the environment. Actually, the environments that the development team and the testing team working are different, and they are not in sync. Okay, so they identify the mismatch, and uh, they try to resolve it. Takes time. Probably they takes half a day, and this is actually going to impact the time for the testing team to again run their test cases, and then in case of any bugs identified, reported, probably the development team have to correct those. So they actually are going to lose that half a day of the time, and ultimately going to impact the delivery, the deadline. So all this, if we look at the entire scenario, chances are that the similar scenario is can be experienced or might get experienced while the code gets pushed into production as well. Okay, in this case, if the operations team corrects the environment, the development and testing environment, they put it in sync. They correct probably some of the framework mismatches. Could be that could be the reason why the test cases were failing. So they corrected, and there are chances in such thing that even though everything is tested by the testing team, when we push the code into production, something might fail, and the same reason could be in the production environment as well. The production environment may not be up to the requirement as the development team has suggested. Okay, So there are chances that this might also happen. Okay, so now if we try to assess and understand the whole scenario, we realize that this chaotic situation could have been avoided, provided the development and operations team collaborated well in advance, before they started actually with the development, or rather with the project itself. Okay, they had communicated with each other effectively, understood each other's problem in time, and then in that case the mismatch between these environments could have been avoided. Even as I said, possible mismatch between the production environment could also be rectified and uh, you know corrected before anything can happen. So all this can be achieved and rectified with matured and automated configuration management. Typically, putting the environments in sync and having all the environments created identically could be achieved using the automated configuration management tools like Puppet, Chef. These, like having Docker in place, probably these could really help. And then where every node in the environment is configured identically. So the best way to achieve this is by using the tools like. So once these processes are automated, some of the dev tasks can also be taken up by the operations team. Okay, the benefits are like, once we have these things automated, ultimately the other benefits come into picture are like, some of the operations teams responsibilities, like creating a test environment. They can have the tools in place, probably just by a single click. The development team, they themselves can create a new testing environment on the fly, test their code, and then have it handed over to the testing team. So such responsibilities of operations team can also be taken up by the development team. Okay, even some of the responsibilities of the development team, like running the test cases, the operations team can take those, because ultimately when we have the entire thing automated, running the test cases, mostly that happens during the if we have continuous integration in place, we can have the test also run automated in automated fashion, and have the results shared across the development, testing, and even the operations and all the stakeholders. So uh, such things can also be achieved. All these uh, different tasks between operations and development and testing team can be shared in between, a perfect collaboration, so to say. Okay, and then other things in DevOps. Okay, having a version control system like the distributed control version control system like Git. It can definitely help in maintaining configuration management code, enabling the ops and dev team to switch back and forth between the environment configuration. So, like the Chef and Puppet tools, you might have heard about uh, environment as a code. Okay, what is that concept? Okay, when I said tools like Chef, Puppet, they can be used to automate the environment creation, spinning up of servers, or spinning up of having an environment in place. That can be done by having a Chef, tools like Chef or Puppet or Ansible. Having the Ruby or YAML code in place, and have the environment created using those codes or tools. So if we have that code versioned, we can actually switch back and forth with the environment versions as well. So environment created for a particular release can be versioned. Okay, and I can have that version switch back and forth. I can go back to the earlier scenario of the environment, and I can have the same done for the future as well. So all that can be achieved by having a good version control system in place. So uh, and then continuous monitoring. Okay, having tools like uh, typical tools like that are used for continuous monitoring that can really help the ops and dev team to understand the bottlenecks in time, rectify areas where actually the bottlenecks are, and then enabling a high efficient application running in the production. Okay, so kind of win-win situation for everyone.